Picture this. It's Friday afternoon. You're running around the city, trying to beat traffic, squeezing groceries, get one last email out, maybe grab a coffee, all before the weekend officially starts. But let's be honest. For most people, the weekend isn't a rest. It's just a different kind of work. Laundry. Bills. Shopping. Social obligations you didn't even want. And the saddest part, we call this freedom. We work all week to earn money, then spend the weekend spending it. Like we're trying to undo the stress by swiping our card. New clothes, new gadgets, fancy brunches. All to feel something, control, satisfaction. Like we're not stuck in a loop. But here's the thing. Most of us are. We live in a system where our identity is tied to our productivity. Our worth is linked to our purchasing power. And if we're not careful, we start to believe that rest is laziness and consumption is therapy. Now, I want to tell you a secret. Actually, it's not my secret. It's an ancient one. Over 3,000 years old. It's called the Sabbath. Or as we say it, Shabbat. And in my humble opinion, it might just be the smartest anti-consumer, pro-human, freedom ritual ever invented. Let me explain. Let's start with the basics. In Judaism, Shabbat starts Friday at sunset and ends Saturday night, roughly 25 hours. During that time, we don't work. We don't buy. We don't sell. We don't cook, text, drive, email, or check Instagram. Wait, don't panic. I know that sounds like a nightmare for some people. No phone, no Amazon, no Netflix. Exactly. Because here's what Shabbat does give you: time, space, stillness. Not just to rest your body, but to reset your soul. And no, that's not some mystical woo-woo stuff. I mean literally, your nervous system calms down, your brain shifts gears, your relationships deepen. You eat. You talk. You listen. You nap. You play board games. You look people in the eye. Honestly, it's kind of wild. Now, some people think Shabbat is just a religious obligation, like a holy timeout. But that's missing the point. Shabbat isn't a pause from life. It's life without the noise. It's a weekly rebellion against a world that keeps shouting, more, faster. Now, let me tell you a little story. A friend of mine, let's call him Jake, good guy, once visited my family for Shabbat dinner. He's not Jewish, never really practiced anything spiritual, but he was curious. So, he shows up Friday evening. Tables set, candles are lit, food's ready, phones are off. And I mean off, not on silent, not in another room, off. He looks around and says, "So, what do we do now?" And I said, "We eat, we talk, we breathe." At first, he looked like he was in detox, twitchy, checking his pocket, waiting for a notification that wasn't coming. But halfway through the evening, something shifted. He laughed more, listened deeper. He even tasted the food, like, really tasted it. Afterwards, he told me, "Man, I haven't felt this human in years." That's what Shabbat does. It reminds you that you're not a machine, not a walking to-do list, not a data point in someone's algorithm. You're a soul in a body, with people, and purpose. And time. Now here's the kicker. In Jewish tradition, we don't just rest on Shabbat because it's good for us. We rest because God did. According to the Torah, God created the world in 6 days and rested on the seventh. Not because he was tired, but to teach us something profound. Creation isn't complete until you stop. That's deep. It means rest isn't a break from productivity. It is part of it. Like music, the silence between the notes is what makes the melody. But we live in a culture where stopping feels like failure. Take vacations. We pack them with activities so we feel productive even while relaxing. Some people even bring their laptops to the beach. That's not rest. That's relocation. Shabbat is the opposite. It says, you are enough, right now, without doing, buying, earning, or proving. That's not just spiritual wisdom. That's economic rebellion. Let's talk money for a second. We live in a consumer-driven economy. You probably know that. But do you realize how deep it goes? Our entire system depends on people constantly wanting more. More stuff. Newer stuff. Stuff they don't need to impress people they don't like, with money they don't really have. That's not an accident. It's by design. Ads tell you you're missing out. Influencers show you a lifestyle you deserve. Stores trick you with fake discounts. It's like a psychological treadmill, and you're sprinting in place. Shabbat unplugs the treadmill. It's 25 hours where you don't buy anything. Not a coffee. Not a light bulb. Not even online. You literally take a break from the economy. Imagine if millions of people did that once a week. The system would panic. And that's the point. Because Shabbat teaches you, you are not a consumer. You are a human being. Now, I'm not saying this to judge anyone. I'm not some monk living in a hut. I have Amazon Prime. I like tech. I love good coffee. But once a week, I step away. And every time I do, it reminds me, I own my time. I own my attention. I don't have to be plugged in, tuned in, or sold to. And you know what? After Shabbat, I feel richer. Not because I made more money, but because I remembered what wealth actually is. Let me give you a metaphor. Imagine you're swimming in the ocean. There's noise, waves, movement all around. You forget what stillness feels like. Then someone pulls you into a quiet lagoon. For a moment, everything slows down. You can breathe, hear your thoughts. That's Shabbat. It's a weekly lagoon in the chaos of modern life. And the beautiful part, you don't need to be Jewish to try it. I've seen all kinds of people, religious, secular, curious, experiment with a version of Shabbat. No phone, no shopping, no noise. Just rest, just presence, even for a few hours, even imperfectly. And they always say the same thing. Why didn't I do this sooner? Of course, not everyone understands. Some people think we're weird. Like, you don't drive for 25 hours, nope. What if there's a sale? Let it go. But what if you get bored? Good. Boredom is the doorway to creativity. Some of my best ideas showed up when I had nothing else to distract me. Here's another one. Don't you feel left behind? Actually, I feel ahead. Because when you stop chasing everything, you start noticing what you already have. Now, let me be real for a second. Shabbat isn't always easy. Sometimes you miss the convenience. Sometimes it feels restrictive. And sometimes you forget just how noisy life was. Until you come back to it and feel the volume slam into your face again. But that's what makes it powerful. It's not an escape from life. It's a training ground for life. It teaches you how to say no, how to sit with yourself, how to stop reaching and start receiving. And in a world addicted to more, that's revolutionary. I once read a quote, I think it was from Abraham Joshua Heschel, that said, Shabbat is a palace in time. Not a palace made of gold or stone, but of moments, of presence, of quiet joy. You don't buy your way in. You just stop and breathe and be. So if you've ever felt burned out, if you've ever felt like your weekends are just catch-up days with prettier lighting, if you've ever wondered why your soul feels so tired, even after doing nothing, maybe, just maybe, it's time to try a Sabbath. Doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be religious. But give yourself one day, or even one evening, to put down the phone, stop the spending, and step out of the cycle. Eat with people you love, light a candle, take a nap without guilt, and just see what happens. You might discover a version of yourself you haven't met in a long time. And you might wonder, why doesn't everyone do this? Well, now you know. If you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments, or better yet, after Shabbat. Send me a message telling me how it went if you tried it. And if you want to follow up, maybe something like how Shabbat helps you master time, or why Jewish holidays are the ultimate anti-burnout hack. Just say the word. I'll make it. Until then, or take a breath, take a break. And remember, you were never meant to live like a machine. Shabbat Shalom, my friend. See you next week.